everyone, today we're doing a different kind of video on this channel. Yes, it is a hair tutorial, and that is because I have gotten a lot of questions about what I use to color my hair and how I do it. Do not worry if you do not care about hair videos and such. This is the only one I am making, and the reason I thought I could do this is because people have always said that I have pretty and punk Chloe hair. It's not why I colored my hair orange and yellow. It actually had nothing to do with dolls. It's purely a coincidence. I wasn't collecting dolls when I started coloring my hair orange. That was all the way back in like 2008, the first time I had it done when I was going into my senior year of high school. It's a happy coincidence, which is why Chloe is my mini-me in photos and also my icon photo. The products I use, some of the steps, and also some tips on like how you can color your hair and to keep it pretty healthy and grow it out, because I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. Is I have people tell me that all the time, that like, oh, your hair must be dead, your hair must be falling out. People have kind of this misconception that you can't like color your hair and grow it long. But before I start, two disclaimers. Number one, I did go to cosmetology school. I did pass my state boards exam. And I did work in a salon for a brief period of time, so I do know what I'm talking about to some extent. I'm not claiming to know it all. I do have some background knowledge. And also, the second thing is my hair is not in the best shape right now, and it has nothing to do with coloring it. This is actually, last year I was really stressed out and really depressed, so my hair started to fall out and my nails started to grow and really weak and break all the time, and that's actually how I noticed something was wrong. So in the fall, which is usually when my hair sheds a lot, I noticed after all of that like fallout that I had way less hair than I usually did. And you can see I have a lot of little like baby hairs and stuff. That's not from my hair breaking from being bleached. That's actually from my hair falling out and growing back in. So I have like a lot of thick little like bad boys growing in, and that's good, it's growing back and stuff. But it was falling out, and that's why my hair doesn't look the best it does. But it was super healthy when I started my channel. It was really thick, it was really long, I barely had any split ends, so it is achievable. So I'm just going to show you what I use. Let's get into it. So this isn't every single thing you're going to need, but if you're coloring your hair, wear a crappy shirt that you don't care about. I have designated clothes. I also have a hat that I use to put over my hair when it's processing. So this is my designated hair dye hat. So I have gloves, I have clips to section my hair, I have my bowl and brush. I like to use coconut oil, and the reason I use coconut oil is because it protects your hair a little bit more when you're bleaching it. More on that later. Then I have my basic bleach. I just get this at Sally's, and also 20 volume developer. And you can see I write on all of my bottles when I bought them, and that's because these don't have expiration dates on them, but they'll tell you like 24 months, 12 months, and I can never remember when I bought things because I don't color my hair that often. More on that later. So this helps me know how fresh it is, because developer goes bad the fastest. It usually has about a year shelf life, so I'd rather buy a slightly smaller thing and keep it fresh, because when you're using older developer, you're not going to get like the same results. And then this is the brand of hair dye I use. Now I'll explain more about this hair dye and what I used to use, but this is the Good Dye Young brand. You can buy this from Sally's Beauty now. It is the same price on Sally's Beauty as buying directly from this website. It's more convenient, I think, buying from Sally's, because you can get free shipping if you only spend $25. They ship faster, and they always have coupons. Like I always get coupons in the mail. Maybe it's because I have the Pro card, I don't know, but I pay a lot less buying from them now that they started selling it there than buying from Good Dye Young. And these are my old bottles that are almost empty that I'm going to finish using. So I use, for the orange, Rock Lobster, and for the yellow, Steal My Sunshine. So a word on the colors themselves. These are semi-permanent colors. People have this misconception that like these bright colors are bad for your hair. The colors themselves aren't. It's the bleaching that's bad for your hair. These are basically like conditioners that have pigments put into them that stain your hair and wash out. People also think that permanent hair color is oh so much better for your hair. That is not true. If you are constantly putting color and pulling it through the lengths of your hair, you're going to start drying your hair out and getting a lot of split ends. I used to use permanent hair color on my roots in the back where the red color is, but permanent hair color just didn't really agree with my hair type. It tried it out and made it look kind of gross and it faded weird. And permanent hair color isn't permanent. It permanently changes the makeup in your hair because it's lifting out color and depositing it, but it's not actually permanent. It is gonna fade, and it's probably gonna fade almost as quickly, especially if you're in the like red family, the warmer tone families, because that bleeds out a lot faster. So in my old videos, I used Manic Panic. That was my tried and true for years and years and years. I used Electric Lava for the red color, and then Electric Banana for the yellow color, and then I mixed the two to kind of have it fade into my bangs. But I don't know if they discontinued those colors or what, but I wasn't able to find them, and I ended up using the Good Die Young stuff because I was creeping on the singer Lights' Instagram because she had released music around that time, and I saw she had this really cool hair color, and she said that she used Rock Lobster by Good Die Young, and I just like had to have that exact hair color. So that is why I use it. The pros to Manic Panic are that it's cheaper, you can get it at more places, you can put it on wet or dry hair, because it says to put it on wet hair, but I've done it on both, and it honestly doesn't make a difference in terms of how saturated it is. The benefit of it being damp is actually that you need to use less color because it kind of lubricates your hair when it's damp. So I used less color, bled less. It didn't bleed as much, so when you would go in the shower, it wouldn't get like tons of red and yellow. However, it faded faster, and I never was really satisfied with the yellows especially. I always had trouble with yellow hair dye, whereas the pros to the Good Die Young is, even though it's a little more expensive and harder to get, this color lasts really long time. Like the yellow in my bangs, I haven't touched my hair since November. It's been 7 months. People think I just colored my hair yellow. I will, like, now that the red is faded out a lot, people will ask me, like, did you just color your hair? It looks brighter. Nope. Do not use this yellow if you do not want it in there forever because it stains. And the red lasts a long time too. I think it just faded out faster this time because I washed my hair more because I was having a problem with like finding a good new shampoo because my shampoo was leaving buildup. So, one of the cons to this though is that you only want to put it on dry hair, not damp hair. It even says on the packaging, but the first time I used it, I thought I'd give it a go because I thought, well, it probably won't make a difference. But if you use it on wet hair, it's going to be patchier and it's not going to like take as well to your hair. So you have to use it on dry hair, which means you have to like spend more time rubbing it through and combing it through, and it's more time consuming and you definitely use more product. But I think the color is actually a lot prettier, and it doesn't have as much of like a neon undertone. The first step to this bleaching process is, first of all, you never want to bleach your hair when it's freshly washed. That's why my hair looks disgusting right now, that and I was out in the rain, because you want your natural oils to build up on your scalp to help protect it, because bleach is really harsh and it will dry out your scalp. You'll probably get dandruff and things when you first bleach it, and I have a naturally dry scalp. So as it is, I only wash my hair once a week. People might think that's gross, but that is a tip I have if you're trying to grow your hair out or keep your color lasting longer. Wash it less because your natural oils are the best thing for conditioning it. If you make sure to like kind of brush it through every night and get it to your ends, you're going to see a really big improvement. I actually did an experiment for 1 month back in 2014. Instead of washing my hair twice a week, I washed it once a week, and my hair was so much healthier and shinier and the color looked so much better. So I mostly don't wash my hair all that often because I'm trying to keep it healthy, not so much for the color. But if you're coloring your hair at all, the more you wash it, the quicker you're going to fade it. So then what I do also is I put coconut oil on the lengths of my hair. Now coconut oil is not like a miracle cure. Like whatever you're using, if you're using Olaplex, if you're using something like coconut oil, it's still going to damage your hair. It's literally opening up your hair shaft, removing the color. Like that's what's happening. So you're not going to prevent damage, but if you keep your hair moist during the process, it's going to prevent it from drying out as much, and dryness is what causes split ends ultimately. So I like to put it on my hair on the ends because just from like bleaching my roots, I notice my hair kind of like absorbs the fumes of the bleach and it gets really puffy and knotty when normally it's not like that. So I'm just gonna lightly brush it out, and you don't want to like have at your scalp right before you bleach it. You don't want to like take a brush and really brush at your scalp because you don't want to irritate it when you're putting a chemical straight on it. And yeah, these are all my little like baby hairs that are going back in. Now, if you know you're going to be bleaching your hair, you can do this overnight. concentrate it where I know my hair gets the driest. So that would be like my finer hairs around my hairline, and also where my hair is yellow. That used to be platinum blonde for a long time, and even though it's probably all grown out what was platinum blonde by now, because that was about 4 years ago, it's probably mostly grown out. I think my hair, just because I had to bleach it so much back then, I feel like it's just more prone to being dry. And I used color remover on there last Christmas, and I used the wrong kind of hair color remover, and it dried my hair out more than it should have. It didn't like break off, but it dried it out. You want to section your hair into 4 sections and then get your bleach ready. This all depends on what brand you're using, because there's different ratios. This is a 1-to-1 ratio, so equal parts developer and equal parts bleach. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't measure my developer out precisely. I never have, because this is not how we did it in cosmetology school. They basically just taught us to eyeball it and make it creamy, which probably isn't the best, but that's what I like to do. Now, I'm gonna need a lot more than this to do all my roots, because I have 7 months of regrowth, and my hair actually grows faster in the back. So it's supposed to be like a cake battery type consistency. The secret to bleaching your hair the best way possible is make sure you section it. Use thin sections of hair and coat it with quite a bit of bleach. If you take thick sections of hair and not enough bleach, you're going to get patchiness and misfits. It's all about making sure your hair is evenly coated. That's why people who work in salons separate it into 4 sections and then go through each section like little by little. And normally you want to start in the back, because your hair is the darkest in the back because it's had the least sun exposure. So that's normally what you would do. However, my hair needs to be lightest where it's yellow, so I will kind of alternate. Sometimes I'll start here, sometimes I'll start in this section. I'm going to start in this section because, like I said, this hair has been a bit more dry the past like year and a half, so that's why I'm going to start on this side. And you're just going to do thin sections, coat it, and then clip it back up, move to the next side. You want to make sure your hair has some breathing room, because if it's too compacted, the oxygen won't be able to get in there and help it develop. But you also do not want it to get dry, because when your bleach dries out, it's not going to lift your hair, so it's going to keep damaging it. So I'm not going to film like this whole process because I'm going to be a complete mess, but you're just going to bleach your hair. Now normally, if I was doing this on someone else, I would leave about a ½ inch of my root, as you can see right here, because that's going to process the fastest. But honestly, because I'm doing this myself, it's really hard to see what I'm doing, especially in the back. So I kind of just have at it and like do the whole section of root, and it turns out fine. My hair lifts really fast. That's why I only use 20 volume developer. My hair lifts to platinum in less than ½ an hour with 20 volume developer. And you want to make sure you're not overlapping the bleach where it already was, because that is what causes breakage. People always give me a hard time about letting my roots grow out this much, like always since I was in beauty school. But if you are doing your hair more than every 6 weeks, bleach expands as it processes, so it's definitely going to make contact not only over the already bleached parts, but on your scalp too, and that's how people end up getting hair loss from coloring or bleaching their hair too much. That is why. So you want to make sure you're waiting at least 6 weeks. I just don't have time to sit and do this, so that is why I only do it like honestly once or twice a year. That works best for my hair type. I don't color my hair any more than 3 times a year, and I'm only bleaching my roots. So that's what I'm going to do. Go through here, bleach all of it, put on a pretty generous amount, and move section by section. And also, a lot of people who don't know what they're doing just go and think they need 30 or 40 volume developer. I see that like most tutorials on YouTube people do. You don't want to start with that unless you have really dark hair, because that's just lifting your hair really fast and damaging it more than it needs to. Okay, so this unattractive look is because I have all my hair wrapped up in plastic wrap now that I'm done, and I put this hat on it to keep my scalp warm, and the plastic wrap is to keep the bleach from drying out. That's the thing too, if you're bleaching your hair, you don't want to like go outside or like do anything that's going to change temperature. Even if you're coloring your hair with permanent hair dye, you want to make sure that the temperature you're in is not changing, and you'll probably want it to be like on the warmer side, not like super cold and chilly, because the warmth is what helps the bleach process. So I'm just gonna chill, let this soak. There's some bleach on the mirror, I'm sorry. And then I'm gonna hop in the shower to wash this out, because that way I can really get in there and rinse it all out. And when I go and put the colors on, I will just rinse it in the sink with cool water, because you don't actually shampoo those semi-permanent hair colors out when you first put them on. You rinse them the first time you apply it, and that way it sticks to your hair better. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I washed it all out of my hair, and you can see, I wanted to show you in this lighting because the bathroom casts really yellow, that my hair is light enough. Now, I don't personally mind. Part of why I can let my roots grow out as much as I do is because I'm putting yellow and orange hair dye over it. So if my hair doesn't lift to white, it's fine, because it's like a yellow base under yellow or under orange isn't really gonna matter. So that's part of, I feel like, why I don't totally fry my hair either, because I don't go for like super duper white. You can see in parts it definitely lifts that light. And back, I did miss a tiny section over here, and I think it's because it's where my hair clip was, and it's like a little bit of my root, and there's like a teeny bit on this side, but I'm not bothered by it. I'm just gonna let my hair air dry, and then I'm gonna put the dye over it, and it'll be fine, because like the little piece you're not even gonna see. So I don't like to go crazy and put more bleach on my hair. I like to give it a break, and then if it bothers me later I can touch it up, but like that never happens. So I'm gonna let it air dry. I don't personally ever use heat on my hair. No blow drying, no flat ironing, no curling. And personally, the last thing you want to do after you bleach your hair is put some heat on it. Blow dryers especially do not agree with my hair type, because I have naturally dry hair, so that's just no bueno.
So this is the part where I'm applying the semi-permanent hair color. Please excuse how puffy this particular section of my hair looks. I know I'm going to get comments of like, oh my god, your hair is fried. Just to clarify, I have always had naturally like dry, puffy, almost curly, wavy hair. It's not truly curly, but it's definitely wavy. My hair is kind of like a Kaneka long-haired Barbie. It responds really well to like whatever style you put it in. So sometimes it looks like American Girl Caroline's hair, where it's super curly on its own. Especially in this weather, it gets very puffy and dry and stuff from the humidity. And other times it's more just like in soft waves. So that's part of why it looks this bad, and if you'll notice when I take the other section down that it doesn't look as bad. And like I said, that was from an accident with hair color remover. I was trying to change brands of yellow, and I decided, oh, I should use color remover, because the old yellow was just really gross and left an oxidized hair color in, and I was depressed at the time, and I thought, hey, I'll just lift it out and it will make me feel better. And I had used a hair color remover before, and it hadn't done any damage. It just made my hair a little dry, and after a conditioning treatment it was fine. But I bought the wrong brand, and it was basically like bleach, because when it made contact with my roots in a little place, I saw that it was actually lifting the color of my root, and by the time I noticed this and went to go wash it out, it was too late. So it just dried out my hair extra. My hair has never actually broken from being bleached, because I'm pretty careful with it. I mean, back when I started coloring, I was way bleach happy, but that was only the first year that I did it, and then after that I learned the value of having good conditioned hair. So this isn't like, my hair isn't broken or split. Part of why it might look a little shorter is because when it got dried out, I decided to trim up the dry bits so it was healthier. So I didn't care if it was a little uneven, honestly, because that's my underneath portion. So that is why. You can see I'm starting with the lighter color, and that's because I feel like my hair will absorb the yellow, and that way when I go to do the red orange shade, if it happens to touch the yellow portion, it's not as likely to stain because the yellow will have already grabbed onto it. And then you'll see when I go to do the red side, I'm just going to start putting it around the perimeter of my hair to keep it in place. And I'm not using a brush for this because unless I'm trying to get a very precise line, I'm using my hands because I have trouble coordinating my hand movements in the mirror in the back. For some reason, I don't know why, it's like something I just can't do. So I like to feel it with my hands. So it looks like I'm just kind of globbing it on, and that's because initially I am, but you're going to see I'm going through and combing it with a wide tooth comb after to make sure I get all the bits, and I'm very generous with how much I put on. But please, for the love of all things holy, never ever comb bleach or permanent hair color through your hair. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people do this online. It is damaging your hair. You do not want to do that. And you don't want to be itching your scalp when you have any kind of like developer on your head either. My hair isn't split in half. It's not half yellow and half red. It's kind of divided a bit differently. So what I do is pretty much everything framing my face is all yellow, and then in the back on the right side of my head, or rather the left side of my head, that is where it's mostly yellow, but I don't do it exactly on my part line. I stay like about an inch away from it, and then I end it like right at the nape of my neck because it's easier for me to section and stuff, and that way it's easier when I wash it to split the yellow and the red apart so they're not bleeding onto one another. And you can see I'm checking it with the mirror to make sure, and then I'm going back and getting any spots I missed. And I will leave this to process for about 2 hours. It says you can leave it on as little as I think 15 minutes, but for me, I find that like leaving it on for 2 hours is about the most time I need. If I leave it on longer, it doesn't make a difference, and if I leave it on for only an hour, it doesn't really make a difference either. But if I wash it out sooner than that, the color doesn't stick as well. So that's what I'm doing, and I don't wrap it up or anything usually, but if I did, I'd just take a plastic bag and kind of put it over my head if I wanted to wear headphones or something. So I'm just double checking. This is the part I spend a lot of time on, and making sure it's all combed through and all lubricated, especially on my ends. I like to make sure I put extra because it can dry out. So it is messy. It does get everywhere. You're going to see I have it all over my neck and stuff. It washes off for the most part in the shower, but you want to be careful not to get this stuff on your sink or on your carpet because I have stained these things before, and especially this brand, it stains everything. Instead of using 2 pairs of gloves, I also just rinse my gloves between each hair color because I don't like to produce more waste than needed, and I'm also like making sure to wipe down my color bottles and stuff to get all of the color that was on my gloves off. I just like to do this periodically to keep the mess down because if I don't, then there's just hair color everywhere.
So this is not the day after I colored my hair. By the time I had washed all the dye out, or rather rinsed it out really well with cold water, it was pretty late and I had to let it air dry. So there was Wednesday and Thursday. Today is Friday morning. I just kept forgetting to film this. So my hair's calmed down a little bit. Anytime I like wash my hair, it's always a lot fluffier the first day because of my naturally like dry wavy hair type. And then on top of that, between the bleach and needing to scrub the bleach out twice really aggressively, my hair gets really wild. If you watch my Beauty and the Beast collection video, that was filmed the morning after I colored my hair. So that it was, you know, very voluminous and poofy. So you can see, here it is, front and back. Yeah, I had no breakage, no fallout. I barely shed. I don't really shed this time of year, and because my hair is not falling out in clumps anymore because I'm not like stressed and depressed like I was last year. I only got like, you know, the usual like 2 or 3 strands. When I say my hair is falling out from stress, I mean I would touch it and I would get fistfuls of hair. And then when I did my normal like kind of heavy shedding in the fall, which always happens, that's when I really saw it. It was like I shed twice in a year instead of the once. But if I have little fuzzy bits, that's not breakage, like I said. That's literally from my hair growing back. Just some other tips on like how I keep my hair healthy. It's not the healthiest right now, but it takes work. That's the thing. Like, you're not going to grow your hair out long or have really healthy hair overnight. People always want a quick fix, and I like to equate it to like losing weight. People think that they can like take a pill or follow a magical diet for like 2 weeks and they'll have the body they want. It's the same with hair. It takes a long time to grow it out. and you need to keep up with like a routine that works for you. Everyone has different hair types and different lifestyles. I'm really low maintenance and laid back, so for me, I can't really use hair products because my hair is very fine, and even though I usually have a pretty thick amount of it, any kind of hair product weighs down on my hair and it gets like greasy and slimy. So the only things I use on my hair would be sometimes like a little bit of coconut oil on my ends, or like on the drier bits just to kind of condition it. And also I'll use cornstarch on my roots if it's like in the front, if it's really getting oily in my bangs, but the rest of my hair I don't want to wash. A lot of people think that like they're only washing their hair once or twice a week, that dry shampoos are like their best friend. The thing is, it defeats the purpose of letting your hair get oily if you're trying to make it healthy if you're using dry shampoos, because that's absorbing the oil. The point of letting your hair get oily is to let the oils coat your hair shaft, not to like soak them up. And then on top of that, you're getting all that buildup of dry shampoos, especially the spray kinds. Those are probably not the best for your hair or the environment. I mean, if you're just using dry shampoos to preserve your hair color and it's not about the health, then it doesn't really matter if you're using them all the time. You can take vitamins and stuff for your hair. I've tried a lot of different brands like in the past when I was younger, and I damaged my hair a lot when I first started coloring it, and I didn't personally find it made a difference. And that's because most of the time you're only going to see a difference when you take vitamins or supplements if you have a deficiency. So for me, and I was really stressed and depressed last year. Part of how I know it had nothing to do with my hair dying is because my nails were breaking, and that's never happened. I have crazy thick nails and cuticles that grow like really fast. Like I can't trim my cuticles because they're so thick. If I do, they're like rock hard because I just have some weird like overgrowth on my nails. And I wasn't eating well, I wasn't sleeping, all kinds of things. My health was really bad, and so when I started taking like just regular vitamins that weren't even made for hair, I saw the little baby hairs grow in, and it can take anywhere from like 2 to 8 weeks for them to accumulate. So again, you can't take them just for like a week and expect results, and you have to be consistent. You have to take vitamins every day for a long period of time. And if you're meeting all your nutritional needs, you're probably not going to see a difference. I'm not saying that like there aren't hair vitamins and things that work, but you have to keep in mind they're not moderated by the FDA. There's not a lot of consistent scientific evidence to say that those things are helping your hair grow. And also, there's no need to take 2,000% of your daily biotin thinking it's going to grow your hair. Your body can only absorb so much. If you don't want to like overbrush it, because then you can pull hairs out, but you do want to make sure you're spreading the oils through. So that's usually what I do, like in the morning. And then wearing it in protective hairstyles, you'll see I have twists a lot in videos, and I've been wearing them a lot more because my hair has been more I've been trying to get it healthy again, so I've been basically wearing it out of the way. Sometimes braids work for people, buns work for people. You just want to make sure you're not putting a lot of tension on your scalp. So if you take your hairstyle out and your head feels sore, that means you're putting tension on your roots, and that can actually cause tension alopecia, which is hair loss from hairstyles. And when you sleep especially, and if you're coloring your hair, you probably don't want to sleep on wet hair or damp hair because you'll tend to notice your hair is more fragile and you're more likely to get breakage. So I'll let my hair be like 85% dry before I go to bed, and then just put it in a twist, and it's fine. And I know my hair is a lot healthier than it used to be, because now if I do go and sleep on wet hair, I don't wake up with like the ends all like janky and hard and sticking out in different directions. It's probably a sign your hair is really damaged. You know, limiting your heat, we've all heard it before. And also, like taking really hot showers isn't good for your hair either. And trimming your hair, no one wants to hear it, but when you're growing out your hair, you have to trim it. But I don't trim it on a set schedule. I trim it as a need basis. So part of why my hair is a lot shorter than it used to be is because over the fall, after I had all that fallout, in 2 sessions I cut off about 5 or 6 inches of my hair. So I did like, 3 inches one time and then 2 or 3 the next time. And that was just to kind of help my ends, because that's where it's like really thin and noticeable. Whereas up top, like in my ponytail, it's thick because all my baby hairs are starting to grow in. But you do want to keep up with it. Like if you notice the ends of your hair have little white specks on them, or you see them forking out and splitting, it's time to trim them. You can't seal split ends. That is a lie. Any product that tells you they can do that is lying. It's just coating your hair in like silicone to make it temporarily stick together. You're better off just cutting it off. I actually trim my hair a lot more now that it's long than I ever did when it was shorter, and that's because when I didn't, it would get gross and it would split all the way up, and I couldn't, even if it did get long, it looked really, really, really bad. I mean, obviously it doesn't look great now, but back in my older videos, you can see my ends are really full and healthy. And if you're wearing extensions and things a lot, that's not good for your hair either. You want to give your hair breaks between like coloring and styling and wearing extensions. It needs a break. Your scalp needs a break. Giving yourself scalp massages is a really good way to stimulate blood flow. So things like that. There's no fast fix if you're trying to grow it out. And you can have colored hair and it be healthy, but you just need to, it's just like a baby and you have to take care of it and make sure that you're treating it right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is the only hair tutorial I'm going to do, so don't worry. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.